What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Wiley and I've been fixing up this aluminum boat over the past couple of months. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to paint your aluminum boat. It's not as simple as just throwing some paint on it. There's a lot of prep work that goes into it, but I'll be showing you how to do all of that in today's video. So let's get into it. So starting off with materials and what you need to clean. You're going to need a hose connected to a water source, a bucket to mix the detergent in. The detergent, you could get one that's made for aluminum boats. I'm just using this one. As long as it doesn't leave a film, it'll work fine. And then you're going to need a sponge as well. That's all the cleaning supply. All right, next up for prep, you're going to need a separate sponge for the aluminum restorer. You don't technically need this aluminum restorer. Our boat is riveted, and so we can't really sand it down without the rivets getting sanded down too much. So if you have a riveted boat, I would recommend it. But if you have a welded boat, sanding will do fine. Next up, the aluminum boat etch wash. This kills the chemical reaction under the paint. So you put this on, wash it off, and then you'll paint. But to get it on, you need these 3M maroon scrubbies. The paint itself, I'm using this Totalboat aluminum boat paint. It says topside. I think it'll be fine. I'm pretty sure I ordered the bottom side one, but it's fine. I'm gonna do a couple coats of it. It should be okay. And then you wanna make sure that the brush you're using has plastic bristles, nothing natural. And then this is just the leftover paint from last time, so I'm just gonna stir that up and use that because I'm doing a small section of boat today. Finally, for safety, you're gonna wanna have 4 gloves. I like to put the blue gloves under the black ones. That way, if the black one rips through, I can see the blue shining out, and then I know to be a little more careful. You're gonna want long pants, long sleeve t-shirt, a face covering. I'm using both a buff and a mask, and then something to cover your eyes as well. And then finally, just some tape to map out where you're gonna paint. These products have some really bad chemicals in them. Before you use them, be sure to read the danger and warning labels on the back and know what to do in case you get some of it on your skin, get some of it in your eyes, or if you ingest some of it. Even the fumes these give off have really bad things for your body in them. So it's really important you're following the guidelines and using safety equipment to make sure you don't breathe it in, to make sure you don't get it on your skin, and to make sure you really don't get it in your eyes. All right, so I'm gonna move on to washing it now. I don't need a lot of water. I don't have a very big section to do today. This is mostly for the tutorial. So I'm just gonna grab some of the soapy water and I'm gonna start scrubbing. It's really just to get a lot of the dust and any grime that could be on there that could mess with the products we're using. So I'm gonna give it a good scrub and then we'll move on to using the shiner. All right, I'm gonna move on to rinsing it now. First I'm gonna rinse my hands, so I'm gonna rinse all of the soap off. Use as much water as you need to make sure that no foam is coming off anymore, because if there is soap left on there, I think I said earlier in the video, but it will mess with the other chemicals. All right, so you can see now when I'm using the jet setting on there, little to no bubbles are coming up. On the other side there are some, but I'm only gonna be painting this side, just from about here down to here and then around there. So I have the jet setting on and there's no bubbles coming up, so that should be okay. Now you're gonna wanna let it dry completely before you start using the aluminum boat shiner. So I'm gonna move this shade over a little bit and then I'll let it dry. I'll come back, put the shade back on, and then use the shiner. All right, so you can see it's all dry, it's ready to go. So I'm gonna move on to using the aluminum boat restorer. I just reread the instructions. I have all my safety equipment on, so I'm gonna get into it. So it's really important that you don't let this dry on it. You should leave it on for, it says 3 to 5 minutes total. I'm just gonna scrub it in a little bit. Once I see that it's made a change in color, then I'll rinse it off. I have my hose ready in case I get on my skin, and my hose ready also after I see it shining, then I'll just rinse it off immediately. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Yeah, let's get into it. So I'm just gonna start pouring it on. It will kind of start making some fumes that you'll see coming off of it. And it's like a soap. That's like the consistency it is. It foams up like a soap. This one has some bad stuff in it, but the most, I'd say dangerous, or the one you should be the most precautious with of the chemicals is the etch wash. So I'm just gonna put this on, I'm gonna watch it and watch the color change, and then be ready to rinse it off. So I'm add a little bit more. It says don't let it dry. So if you need to add more, definitely do so to ensure it doesn't dry. I have 2 bottles of these. So if this one runs out, I have enough for the rest of the boat as well. It recommends you start from the bottom going up so it doesn't create streak marks. I don't really care about that because all I'm doing it is for the paint. But if that's something you care about, then you should work from the bottom going up. But again, I don't really care about that. So I'm not sure if the camera's showing it, but you can see right there, there's definitely a clear line of where it's starting to shine. I'm gonna keep scrubbing it a little bit, and then in a few minutes, I'll start rinsing it off. So again, I'm not sure if that's showing on the camera, but like you can see really well the difference right there in the color. So I'm gonna add a little bit more, scrub it a little bit more, and then it'll be ready to go. This sponge is probably gonna be replaced because I've used it like 5 times, which is why the color's like that. But so since I've done this a couple of times before, I think that's why it's not really putting out a lot of fumes. If your boat is really old and the aluminum on it's really corroded or oxidized, it'll put out some fumes. You can kind of see like the smoke coming off of it, but right now I'm not seeing any of that. So the reason I'm going over all of it is to make sure it's not drying on anything. The sponge still has some liquid in it, and doing it this way, make sure that down here it's not drying. I'm not really neglecting any spot, letting it dry. So right now that looks about good. I'm going to put the cap on, and then I'll rinse off my hands. Rinse off my hands. All right. So I'm gonna move all of this out of the way. I'm just gonna throw the sponge away, so it doesn't really matter if it stays full of this chemicals, and then I'm just gonna start rinsing it off. So again, I'm not really sure if it's showing on the camera, but like this stuff works really well. You can see the difference in color there. And this is a pre-shined boat too. I've done this a couple times on this side before. I kept on planning to paint and then I never just got to it, but I do like some of the prep work before. But if it's an old boat, like the first time I did this, the difference was insane on how shinier it got. So it turned out really good. So the GoPro ran out of battery, but basically I'm just going to let this dry and get it ready for the etch wash. So you can see the difference in the shiny from where I used the Restore and where I didn't. Again, you could sand if you wanted to, but this stuff works really well. I really recommend it. So it turned out really good. All right, so I'm gonna map out my area. It's all dry now again. So I'm gonna use the tape and map it out. This tape sucks. Okay, I'm not gonna use the tape. I'll just put a mark here, and I'm not going to go over the middle. I'm gonna go from about here on. I'll do the middle next time, but I'm actually gonna make it a little bit smaller too. So now is the etch wash time. So I read the instructions again. I'm gonna put it on, scrub it. It's really important you don't let this stuff dry. This stuff is more dangerous than the shiner, and you're more likely to get on your skin because you're scrubbing. And my friend, his glove ripped open last time and it burned through like a layer of skin, and he had time to wash it off too. So this stuff is definitely, use gloves. I'd recommend using doubling up on your gloves. So I'm just gonna start scrubbing it in. This stuff smells a lot too. Like, it smells super chemical. It's not, I wish I didn't have to use it, but it is what it is. Just be really careful. Definitely don't get it in your eyes or on your skin. And this one does give off fumes. The last one doesn't really, unless it's like really old aluminum. This one, on the other hand, really does give off fumes. So try not to breathe those in too much. And you have to scrub this for like the full 5 minutes as well. You can see it kind of starting to, the water is kind of starting to change colors, so it's working. But I'm just gonna scrub this in for a little bit longer and then I'll rinse it off. Remember, don't let this stuff dry on it either. Kind of move over all of it to make sure it doesn't dry anywhere. Add more if you need to, and then be ready to rinse it off when you're done. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna close this up. Over here, I was scrubbing too close to the paint and this stuff was taking the paint off a little bit, which I was not expecting. I talked to the guy and he said that wouldn't happen, so I'm gonna rinse it off now. Hopefully it doesn't take off too much of the paint, but I can paint over whatever it did too. And then this one, you kind of want to be quick with rinsing it off because you really don't want this stuff to dry on it. So I'm gonna start down here where it's more likely to dry. And I'll just move up to here. You can see all that gray stuff washing off of it. That's what it's doing. That's all the corrosion that it's just taking off. But yeah, I'm gonna rinse all this off and then, yeah. All right, so that should be good. There's a little bit of bubbles, but it should be fine. I'm noticing that where it hit the paint, like here, you can see it started taking the paint off. That sucks. I did not know about that, so I'm just gonna paint over that. It should be fine. And then here where the bottle was sitting, it looks like some got off there too. So I'm gonna rinse off the painted part too. It's okay, I hadn't done a second coat on this side yet, so the second coat we'll go over that, and I'll just end up probably having to buy another thing of this paint so I can do a third coat. It recommends 2 to 3 coats, but if it's coming off, then I'll want to do a third coat as well. So I'm going to let this dry again, and then it'll be ready to paint. For the painting process, you don't need to have as much protection, like the gloves and whatever. You don't want to get it on your skin, but it's not like it's as intense as the rest of the stuff. So I am gonna wear a mask, but I'm not gonna wear the gloves and stuff. We got on our skin last time, it was fine. So yeah, you can see how shiny this is now. After the etch wash and the shiner, you can even, maybe it's not showing on camera, but there's a little line from here that I can see as well, from the etch wash versus just the shine part. So it definitely did its job. I'm going to let this dry and then we'll get to painting. All right, so I'm gonna start mixing up this paint quickly because you only have an hour from the time you wash the etch wash off to paint. But you wanna make sure you mix it really well, there's no streaks. This is a small amount, so it's really easy to mix this time. And then I'm gonna grab my brush and I'll start painting. Both my phone and my camera almost out of battery, so you might miss a lot of this, but I'll try to get some of it. Really just gotta paint and then let it dry. And And then I guess before you put a second coat, I haven't done that yet, but per the instructions it says before you put a second coat on, you're supposed to sand it. So that won't be in here, but look at the back of your paint can and it should say any information about that. I'm not sure if you're using the same paint as me, but definitely check yours and look at the instructions on all of your materials or whatever, because they might be different from what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna finish painting this side and then that's it. Let it dry. I'll show the end result too if it cuts out. You don't have to be super generous with it. If you're gonna do a second coat, it doesn't have to go on super thick. You just wanna make sure you're getting it pretty evenly and no spots where it's too thin. So, like over here, it's a little bit thin, but it's okay. Okay, so that looks good. It turned out good. It's all even. Up here it's a little bit thinner, but I'm gonna be doing a second coat, so it should be okay. Anywhere that it's a little bit thinner, the second coat will go over that. And then over here, the paint was coming off, but I painted over it and it looks fine. And then up here where the etch wash was sitting, I'm not seeing any spots that the paint was coming off of, but yeah, it looks good. That's some cracking from the first one, but I haven't done a second coat on the first one yet, so I'm guessing that's why. And then, yeah, I'm gonna rinse all my stuff off and get all the chemical-y stuff put away, and then we're done. I'll show a picture and some footage of what it looks like when it's all finished and dried, but overall, that's pretty much it. So this is the finished product. It's a little wet still, but like over here, it's totally dry. It turned out really good. It blended in perfectly with the other one. There's a couple wet spots, but this is just the one coat, and I'll do another coat later. And I still had some left over from what I set aside from the first time, so I think I'll have enough to do at least 2 coats, hopefully 3. The bottle of paint is pretty small, but I got quite a bit out of it. So yeah, turned out really good. I'm probably gonna do the rest of it off camera, but if you want to see more videos on me fixing up the boat, check out my shorts on YouTube or my Instagram account, because I've been doing a bunch of stuff since last September. So yeah, go check those out. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more boat repair, fishing, diving videos. Yeah, see you guys later. Bye.